What Up Planet Earth, I'm going to cover everything that's been happening over the last weekend and everything that's happening this weekend. Last weekend being the New Year's Eve weekend. If you don't know what Anonymous for the Voiceless does, check us out on Facebook, check us out online, cupidtruth.com. There's lots of videos and information online, but in summary, we do street demonstrations that are very well structured and well researched. Last weekend we had 4 demonstrations happening on New Year's Eve. The first event I'll cover is the one that happened in Melbourne. In the last video I actually mentioned that it would be at State Library, but a quick update fixed that, thankfully. That went well. Everybody was in party mode obviously in the city, or at least they were preparing for that, and we ended up compelling 47 people to take veganism seriously. A better result than we expected. We've got some really cool stuff prepared for the Melbourne team for this year. And then we had one event in Brisbane that occurred at Radcliffe Place. The event went really well. And then we had one in Portland, USA, and they actually reached a new record for conversions in one demo, hitting 22, which is 12 more than their previous record. So overall, that was a really good turnout for Portland. And then finally we had an event in Edmonton, and that actually finished on 12 o'clock. So that was pretty interesting to see the event into the new year, and that turned out really well. Everybody just wanted to get out there and to do activism to bring in the new year, and that's the kind of attitude that we thrive on. So it was really good to have that happening. Those 4 events went really well, and overall, as a collective, we hit 80 people taking veganism seriously over 4 demonstrations. So that's really, really well done. Oh, and I also mentioned that for the year of 2016, we finished up on 2,402 people taking veganism seriously. We were hoping to just get more than 2,000. Now, for the first week of the year, for this coming weekend, we have a total of 8 demonstrations. So for the 7th and the 8th of January, I'll cover the first one happening in Melbourne, which is our regular weekly event. We've gone back to Bourke Street Mall in Melbourne, and so that's where we'll be set up. If you're going to attend in Melbourne, or if you're in Melbourne and you want to attend, make sure you get out to Bourke Street Mall. It'll be happening from 2:30 p.m. till 6:30 p.m. Make sure you're early or on time, but otherwise, yes, it's going to be at Bourke Street Mall, back to our original position, now that there aren't so many kids that are hovering around that area due to Christmas and stuff like that. So Bourke Street Mall, that's the first one for Melbourne. Then we have one at King George Square in Brisbane. So this is going to be a first time in King George Square, and that will be running from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. So if you're in the Bris Vegas area, make sure you get out there and support. Also on the 7th of January, we have an event in Frankfurt that's going to occur on Saturday from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. It's going to be held at Zeal, Frankfurt am Main. We have another event happening in Portland. We have weekly events happening in Portland now. We're gearing up for an effective and active Portland chapter. So we're back at Pioneer Courthouse Square. If you're in the Portland area, make sure you get out there and support. If you're in any of these areas, make sure you get out there and support. But yes, we'll be set up on the 7th of January, Saturday, Pioneer Courthouse Square from 12:30 p.m. until 4 p.m. Then we are going to be set up for the first time ever in New York City at Times Square, operating from 4 p.m. on Saturday the 7th of January. If you're in the New York State, if you're in New York City, it's going to be an epic event. Moving on, we have an event in California, in Los Angeles. We have an event on the 7th of January, Saturday, from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. at Venice Beach Boardwalk. So if you're in the California area, make sure you get out and support. And on the 8th of January, which is Sunday, we have an event occurring at the Esplanade Surfers Paradise in Gold Coast. If you're in the Gold Coast area, make sure you get out there. It starts at 2 p.m. up until 5:30 p.m. We're trialing a new area. This is due to permits and whatnot, and we'll see how that goes. And then Sunday on the 8th of January, we have the event in Chiang Mai, which is back at the Pay Gate, and that's going to be a good one. So if you're in Chiang Mai, make sure you come out. And that's it. That's covering last weekend and this weekend. I also just want to mention, we have been invited to speak at the UK Vegan Campout. I'm going to be doing an hour-long workshop, and I'm also doing a talk. The good news is we've been invited, we're going to be there. The bad news is that we haven't got the money to fly over there. They've blown their own budget, so they can't fly us out there like they have with the other guests, but they would like us to be there. So instead of us turning down the invitation, I've started a crowdfund to raise the money for the return flights, the accommodation and the food, and any of the leftover money will be donated directly to Anonymous for the Voiceless to assist with our production and development costs. So I'm going to leave a link for the crowdfund below, and if you would like to see us in the UK doing a workshop and doing a talk, then please donate. Every cent counts. Not only are we doing the talk and the workshop, but we'll also be doing some activism on the streets. If you've been watching these updates, or if you follow us on Facebook and whatnot, you'll know that we have a chapter in London, and we also have just set up a chapter in Bristol. So what we'll be doing is we'll be co-hosting an event in London and in Bristol. And then we'll also be doing some street activism. I'll probably get out onto the streets with George Martin and Joey Carbstrong. That's likely to happen. And maybe even James Aspey will come along to the events with the crew that I just mentioned. But yeah, a whole bunch of great UK activists will be there. I think it would be a great level up for me as an activist to get out there and to do this workshop and to do this talk and to also just get some activism done in the UK. It's very exciting. We just need the finances to be able to make this a reality. So if you can donate any money at all, every cent counts. And I'll finish this video on this note. Next weekend, I won't cover exactly what's happening for the events because I'll cover that in the next update video, which will be coming earlier next week rather than later next week. But next weekend, we're actually going to be having 13 demonstrations, which is 4 more demonstrations than we've had in 1 week. So that's a new record for us. So we're starting 2017 off the right way, and we're going to continue to be very busy this year. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody if you think that one of these demonstrations is happening in their area. If you want to join or support, find us on Facebook, send us a message if you want to do a demonstration. We can send you a manual with all the tricks and tips, or we can even get you set up as a chapter. Just make sure you contact us and we can discuss that. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you want to see more of these videos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.